Here we're entering Plaza Mayor. Looks like today is a day of some kind of festival. If I'm not careful, I'm going to walk right into it. Well, it's a wedding. Well, got to be equally as careful. Done so far quite well for 73 years. Don't want to ruin my record. Well, weddings are a big deal among the Latinos, no less so than the Spanish. I think this is the City Hall. It was finally finished in the 1800s, I think. Actually, it started in 1683 and finished in 1703 when Jefferson sent Lewis and Clark west. I'll pan around here just to give you an idea of what this Plaza Mayor looks like. A pretty classic design, apparently. These lower floors for shops on the three sides other than where the town hall is. And then it segues from here into this next place straight ahead. So where we are right now is right where that circled 4 is, and we're looking into this next square that's straight above that. The Pilgrim shop here. So let's see what's inside. This square quite a bit more subdued and more pleasant to be in, with that monument statue and a pretty place for people to sit. And I'm going to wander now to find the chocolate museum. How many of these have I been to? Oh, they're stamping in the name of the chocolate that you're producing. See, like they're done there. Imagine how many barrels of chocolate that worn paddle implies. This is probably for grinding up the cacao seeds somehow.
Como conozco tanto Gijona y conozco el proceso de fabricación, digo, mira, igual que el comienzo del turno.
Chocolate cigarettes. Some of the beautiful women that personified chocolate, I guess. This is probably a photograph of the chocolatier, his family. You wonder what his future was. Just some of the containers, I guess. Lunch boxes, maybe? Toys. Maybe they were dispensers or devices in which you bought your chocolate sometimes. Did those put designs into chocolate, I wonder? Or were they used for mixing? They're just very pretty. They look like rattles. See those center parts there? Here, a knife for cutting the chocolate. These were probably pots that you would put a chocolate drink in, and the little wand could sit in that hole and stir the chocolate. Like tea, chocolate became a little bit of a cult thing, probably, for the folks in this area. It's a very small museum, but it's fun that these things are preserved. What this poster, if you will, of, I think, American cinema stars has to do with chocolate, I don't know. But I can recognize some of the faces. Rhonda Fleming, noticing how she got her parts. According to Alex Dreiser's writings, they all did. Well, at least the ladies, maybe the men too. The seamy side. And these are frames of the various cards, like baseball cards, that you could collect. One from each of the packages of chocolate we bought. Presumably that's what brought our Hollywood stars into play. We were at Termas Menores. This was the Roman site. I don't think anything exists anymore. If it does, behind this door. These were a collection of baths for public use, and also there was apparently some area that had private use. I'm guessing that these routes here probably were either something you could tour if it were open, or it's where the sewer line ran. I'm hoping it's the first. That won't do me any good because it's not open. So we were just at 24 or 27. Now we'll go down to 23, which was the site of the encampment of the Roman legion. An encampment that was here for the purpose of both protecting and controlling the prisoners of the Romans who were used to do the hard labor in the gold mines nearby in the 2nd, 3rd century, I think. It's called Cerca Legionaria, and this is, if you can interpret it, something to do with the encampment that they had here. But as you can see, they've left in the night. It's hard for me to orientate myself. Somewhere between here and that tower is my albergue. Looking back down the trail, I've come to Astorga. That's where I left this morning. I've gone through a couple of small towns since then. I'll just pan around so you can get a view of this, what I think is similar to Arizona, sometimes Utah, I think. Up Arizona up on the top, the Mogollon Rim. It's a cloudy day, some patches of open sky. Here we enter station Catalina de Somoza with the obligatory old church bell tower silhouetted, and behind it you can see the tips of the range that we'll be going over in the next several days. In particular, the highest point, which is O Ciervo, or something like that. And down this narrow, rock-walled, foliaged pathway, a prettier picture of it. This is probably a great stop for those people who are doing a relatively short day or a long day passing Astorga. These walls in this high country remind me of the walls I saw in Montenegro on the way to the national park, and for the same reason. This land is filled with these rocks. In order to get any use out of the land, you gather up the rocks, and the best thing and easiest thing to do with them is build fences, keep your livestock in. That way you turn a problem into a long-term investment. Now approaching the small town of Ganso. In the distance there, you can see a little bit of the church. And on the surrounding hills, notice the windmills. Some of them are actually working. You can wonder what this place is like when it's in the wintertime. Remote. Cut off. Looks authentic, doesn't it? Notice it has its own bird nest for whatever that bird is. Looks like some little birds have used part of it as a nesting area. These are pretty quaint little villages to walk through. Was this the original entrance to our church? Notice the two bells up there that still probably serve a function. And now our path out Places that are fun to visit briefly, but you wouldn't want to live here. Look at this old cross set into this rock wall on purpose. Look at the moss on those rocks that are holding it and how old the wood is, how weathered it is. This building itself now abandoned, its roof all gone or caved in. A lot of these buildings are abandoned or now have different uses, as the owners have either gone away, died, and their offspring have built newer, more modern structures for themselves. Here's some purple low foliage that just seems so pretty. There lies my future.